All right, so today we're jumping into how one of the internet's biggest creators, Mr. Beast, launched a project to help 2,000 people walk again. But this is more than just a story about giving back. It's a deep dive into the real people at the center of it, the broken systems they're up against, and the incredible innovations that are literally changing lives.
Just think about that for a second. Imagine not being able to walk on your own since 2009. For a woman named Stephanie, that was her reality. Her story, that one voice, is really where this whole thing kicks off, because it represents a struggle that millions of people share.
But this project wasn't just about helping one person. The goal was to help 2,000 people. So how in the world do you go from one person's 15-year struggle to a number that massive?
And that is what this is all about. Behind that one big number, there are individual journeys, there are emotional first steps, and there are lives that were about to be completely transformed.
Okay, so to really get our heads around a number that big, we've got to zoom all the way back in. Let's start with Stephanie's story, because it really puts a human face on this enormous challenge.
So after 15 long years, Stephanie gets fitted with a new prosthetic. And in this one incredible moment, she stands up and she walks. And her father, who was watching this whole thing, said he was just glad she would no longer be a prisoner. I mean, wow. This was never just about being able to walk. This was about freedom. And Stephanie's first steps, that was literally just the beginning. The project immediately started helping more people, like Colleen, David, and Kareed. Every one of them had their own story, but as the team quickly found out, they all ran into the exact same gigantic roadblock.
Yeah, because what this whole thing brought to light, really fast, was that the technology itself wasn't the biggest problem, not even close. It was the insane financial wall that was stopping people from ever getting it.
I mean, just look at these numbers. A single prosthetic leg can run you anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000. For most people, it's not possible. It's a total non-starter. So you're probably thinking, well, what about insurance, right? But the brutal reality for so many people is that it's either way too expensive or it just doesn't cover what they need. They get told no. And when that happens, what are you supposed to do?
10 years. Just let that sink in for a second. 10 years. That's one person's estimate for how long it would take them to save up for a prosthetic by themselves. It just goes to show you how broken the system can be, that without some kind of outside help, a lot of people are just stuck.
And look, this problem, it gets even tougher in other parts of the world, which is exactly where the project went next. And this is where we see something really cool happen. This mix of big-time philanthropy and some seriously smart local innovation.
So the team heads down to Guatemala, and they link up with this guy, David, who founded the Range of Motion Project, or ROMP for short. And his entire organization, his whole mission, is built to tackle this exact problem for some of the world's most vulnerable communities. So how do they do it? This is the genius part. Instead of using brand new, expensive tech, David's team figured out a system to recycle perfectly functional prosthetic components. It sounds simple, right? But it is a total game changer. It slashes the cost down to just 1/10 of the standard price, and that makes it possible to help, as he puts it, the poorest of the poor. But in a place like Guatemala, it's not just about money. The geography itself is a huge hurdle. You have patients living way out in these remote mountain regions, and ROMP just didn't have a vehicle that could get to them. So the project bought them one. A new $65,000 truck that's tough enough to get to people like Kevin, who literally lives on the side of a volcano. Okay, so it wasn't just about the hardware and the travel. A huge part of this was about the mental side of things, the psychological recovery. It was all about showing people what they were now capable of, and they did it through these incredibly powerful symbolic acts. So in Ecuador, David does this thing. He takes people who've just gotten their new prosthetics, and they all go climb a mountain together. And you might ask why? Well, his thinking is if you can get to the top of a mountain, you start to believe you can get through anything. The thing that held you back becomes the source of your greatest strength. It's an amazing idea.
And sometimes that mountain you need to climb is something deeply personal. Take this man, Travis. He lost both of his feet in an accident. Years go by, his daughter is getting married, and she has this one dream she's had her whole life.
And he did it. He gets fitted with 2 new prosthetics, and Travis walked his daughter down the aisle. That's what this is all about, right? It's not just about giving someone the ability to walk. It's about giving them back the ability to show up for the biggest moments in our lives.
So, okay, we have 2,000 success stories from all over the world. The project was, by all accounts, a massive success. But it also left the guy who started it all with one final and pretty critical question. And this is a thought from Mr. Beast himself. He basically says, look, for a lot of these people, their only real hope was for some YouTuber to show up and help them, which, in his own words, is absurd. And that's the real twist here, isn't it? The project's amazing success is also a huge spotlight on the system that made it so necessary in the first place.
Which brings us to this final question. When a giant act of charity like this puts a spotlight on a broken system, what's the real answer? We've seen that solutions exist, they work, but whose job should it be to provide them? I'll leave you with that one. What do you think?